we've come to this space at this hour to listen and to hear once more the word of light and love that shows us who we are and who we can be. Amen. Each year, some 700 to 1,000 people attempt to summit Mount Everest. In 2024, 860 people attempted this climb. The extreme excursion involves facing life-threatening circumstances and conditions, giving the cold, the snow, the wind, the threat of avalanches, and so much more. There's a small window in which the climb is even possible in May and September. Otherwise, the conditions are simply too perilous. And now the risk is even greater with so many people on the mountain. It slows things down, and that increases exposure to altitude and the elements and the sub-freezing temperatures. Think frostbite, hypothermia, high altitude sickness, which can be fatal. In addition to the risk involved, significant effort and resources are required. Months of physical and psychological preparation are necessary. The costs include equipment, guides, permits, insurance, travel, a cleanup fee, and months of missed work. So the financial outlay needed is large. Think something like an average of about $75,000. So why do people attempt to climb Mount Everest? George Mallory, who may have been the first to summit Everest, along with his climbing partner Sandy Irvine in 1924, is known as saying, "Why climb Mount Everest? Because it's there." Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzin Norgay are the first confirmed to summit Everest in 1953. Why did Hillary want to climb Everest? For the thrill of it and to test his climbing skills. While there may be different reasons for climbing Everest or any other mountain, clearly those who climb are seeking something. They're looking for something. This morning, we listened to two stories that involve Jesus going up a mountain. In the first story, Jesus goes up the mountain to pray. There is a long tradition in human history of associating the mountaintop with the presence of a deity, of God. So going up the mountain is getting close to God, or near to heaven, the divine realm considered to be above in that cosmology. We see this in the stories of Moses going up the mountain to commune with God. And so now we see Jesus doing the same. He goes up the mountain seeking something, seeking the presence and power of God. And he comes down the mountain and calls the 12 disciples. He wants to share the power and love and the message that he has been given. He wants a group of people to help him with his mission. He does not exhibit any of the characteristics of a dictatorial leader or a despot or even a kindly, beneficent monarch. Jesus is always seeking to share power and to recruit others to join with him in the mission, sharing with them the full power that marks his ministry. Whatever he does, he assures his followers, you can do it too. He's not seeking to hold on to his power in a way that makes him special and revered. He's seeking to release his power and to invite others to tap into divine love so they too can serve others and be agents of transformation and find a life of purpose and joy. So Jesus comes down the mountain, recruits his followers, then he encounters the crowds who flock to him for healing. And they are healed. The power, the connection that he has found with God on the mountain now flows out of him for the benefit of others, the masses. Jesus shows his newly called followers what they are to do. Then we listen to another mountain story a few chapters later, the story known as the Transfiguration. This story appears each year in the lectionary on the last Sunday of the Epiphany season, which we are celebrating today before Lent begins. Now in this story, Jesus takes 3 disciples with him up the mountain. Again, he is looking for strength and centering and grounding in the power of love. Jerusalem awaits Jesus, and he needs support. Moses and Elijah appear to shore up his reserves. He may have wanted the support of the disciples as well, but they seem kind of vacant about the whole experience. They are being given the opportunity to experience the power of divine love, but they don't seem to be aware or to know what's being asked. And so this voice from the clouds directs, listen to it. They go down the mountain, and Jesus has given his disciples his full self, his full teaching, the power of the word of life. He's shown them their connection to God. He's shown them their power to heal and forgive. He's made them full partners in his ministry. And he gets down the mountain, and people have come to the disciples for healing. And what's happened? They're left wanting. They haven't been healed by the disciples. No healing. The people are disappointed. They're being let down again, as usual. One parent confronts Jesus on behalf of his son, possessed by evil, and Jesus heals the child with the power that he's given the disciples, but they don't seem to know how or want to use it. So we see Jesus angry and frustrated. Like, I gave it all to you. What are you doing with it? What do you need to be able to believe in yourselves? Jesus is showing how to access the power of God within us. He's showing us how to access the power of love, and with the power to heal our relationships, our institutions, our many rifts and divides. He shows us the power of wholeness and reconciliation that we have the capacity to use as a healing ministry within us. Everything he had, we have. He's showing us who we are. We too are bearers of the light. But so often, like those first disciples, we don't truly believe we have that much power. We don't renounce what needs to be renounced to release that power of love. We want to stay in control. We put our eggs in the wrong basket. We put our trust in money instead of love, in division instead of unity, and we get the mess that we're currently in. The season of Epiphany ends with this story that reminds us that the light that is in Jesus, the light of love and life, the light of peace and goodwill to all the light we're shown in Jesus is not only in him. Our faith story tells us that the divine became human so that we would know who we truly are, to show us who we are, so that we would know the power that is in us. The love that ignites us and lights our lives. Now, after climbing Mount Everest, Edmund Hillary's life changed. He was a nobody from a small town in New Zealand with a passion for mountain climbing. was a climber extraordinaire, sought out the world over, knighted even. And what did he do with this power that he received from his mountaintop experience? He offered himself to causes that would do good. The Himalayan Trust, providing hospitals and schools for the people of remote Nepal. He offered himself as the vice president of a national pro-choice advocacy group in the 1970s. He offered himself as a leader in the mountain wilderness, an NGO to protect mountains all over the world. His mountaintop experience gave him power, and he used it to do good for others his whole life. This would never have been expected from a small boy in remote New Zealand. Now, reflecting on his life, Hillary comments, "You don't have to be a fantastic hero to do certain things, to compete. You can just be an ordinary chap, sufficiently motivated to reach challenging goals. The intense effort, the giving of everything you've got, is a very pleasant bonus." Jesus gave everything he had, even his life, not for his own glory, but to show us what we are capable of, to show us the light that's in us, to guide us to summit the challenges that face us with love and compassion. There is nothing that divine love cannot accomplish, even through us. Sir Edmund Hillary, an unlikely hero remembered the world over, tells us, "I have discovered that even the mediocre can have adventures, and even the fearful can achieve." We can imagine Jesus sharing that sentiment. Yes, even the mediocre can have adventures, and even the fearful can achieve. Those first 12 disciples, us, mediocre, fearful, no worries. The light of Christ will ever shine through us.